Hello everyone and welcome to Arts, Crafts, and Everything in Between. I am your host, Eileen, aka Eileen the Little Crafter. And with me, I have the very funny, talented, and very colorful Carolyn Dube. I am so excited to have you, Ms. Dube. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Call me Carolyn.
Well, you know, gotta show the manners.
I haven't been called Mrs. Dube since I left the classroom. So.
I know. I was rereading your about me on your blog again, and I still am amazed with all your talent, and then to end up in arting or mixed media stencil girl. How did that happen? Go ahead, shoot. Where do you want to?
It was absolutely no plan.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely no plan, and never would have guessed I'm where I am when I started.
Mm-hmm.
That it went, and it's kind of funny because once I started to figure out the oops kind of thing, the outstanding opportunities presenting suddenly. I saw how much applied to my life. Like before, it had been up with didn't use it. Ended up owning a jewelry business for a while, learning from that. Then owned a restaurant. Did that for 7 years. Learned from that. Went back into the classroom, or went to the classroom for the first time for 10 years. Everything just kept building.
Yeah.
And along the way, I was stalking the aisles of Michael's and Hobby Lobby, and I think I have tried everything except knitting. Like, I love buying yarn. I love the look of it, but that is one where I'm like, hands off. Like, my daughter she's a knitter. She makes up her own patterns. She has all the little hooks for everything. Loves it. She's tried to show it to me, and it is absolutely hilarious because I'm just like, I don't remember it. Like, the stitches, and now I understand why I never caught on to it, because there's so much precision. You actually have to count stitches, and you have to, and you have to follow a pattern, and, it all makes sense to me why I, steered clear of that aisle. But everything else, I have made soap, I've made candles, I've made the glass mosaics, I've done the wood burning, you name it. I've made my own tassels with the yarn in the tassel maker phase, and, and all of it I used to I kept thinking, like, oh, wow, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just supposed to be playing. Like, I kept trying to figure it all out, and in the process, when I let go and just let myself play, I'm like, oh, this is much more fun this way. Okay. But I also have amassed all these supplies, which I'm actually purging out and donating to a local studio that works with kids. And so they've been the recipient of all sorts of just junk clearing out. I'm like, okay, if you haven't used it in 10 years, it really needs to go, out the door.
Yeah, and I've noticed also that you use some of that, the supplies in your art journals, so it kind of does come in handy in a way. So,
like the supplies that I've kept some of them from my previous fads. The ones that can adapt and shift. Like I'll love a paper punch till the day I die.
I know.
Something about a paper punch that makes me so happy. But I know there's certain things, like a lot of my scrapbooking stickers. A lot of them I passed on to people with young kids that I love my kids, but they're older teenagers.
Yeah.
It's just not cute to take their picture anymore. It was cute when they were 5 at the zoo, but now I'm like, it's not the same.
I don't know. I don't know. I have nieces and nephews that range in different ages, so to me, I kind of feel like, they're like, oh, Titi, please. I'm like, whatever. Your Titi's a scrapbooker. She's a mixed media artist. She will find a way to use this photo. Do not. Don't move and smile. They're like, oh.
So true. Just like when they were 5, you'd take like a million pictures because every little movement was awesome. And like when they're 18, you're like, once a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very, very rambling how I got to where I am, and I never would have guessed this was how I got here. But I can see all the pieces and parts of it. Coming together in helping me do what I do.
Yeah, it's kind of like the layers and mixed media, how your colorful journey has basically built up to where you are now, and it is amazing. I have to say, and watching you and all the other ladies in Stencil Girl, I'm just my mouth is always like this, wide open, because the techniques are simple, but it's the idea, and I think who I admire more with the kind of like the effortless movements is you, and oh God, Mary Beth, with the very laid back attitude, because it's just, I think as crafters, I think that we kind of get so pent up, and I love that you are like outstanding oops. How did you come across with that?
Well, it came about because I was have you ever like been hitting a wall and you just know you can do more than what you're doing, but you just keep hitting that wall, and people would say, you've heard that, and it's just an opportunity. There's an opportunity and all that. And I'm like, I really wanted to give them the finger. That irritated me no end every time somebody would say that to me when I'm frustrated, because I was wrapped up in the frustration. And I realized I had to keep from getting to that point. So, and generally what happens is I take myself way too seriously, and things go south. I really had to sort of go, okay, how can I remind myself to laugh at myself? Because, when I'm working on stuff, there are times when I'm like, you'd think I'm working on the Sistine Chapel. I'm like, this is a piece of scrap paper, and it's not like, really? I just get so wrapped up, like I'm going to lose my house. We're going to have a car accident.
Oh my goodness.
Just the way I'm thinking. And so I just had to get out of my own way. And
yeah.
I had to do something to kick myself out when I was in that moment of just utter frustration, when all you want to do is like, when you're just at that breaking point.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I started saying oops, and I'm like, oh. And when I first started saying oops, I had to think about it. Like, oops. And it took me a while. And now I like, I don't have to say oops anymore. I just, like it's no big deal. Like, and if I don't mess stuff up, I actually miss it a lot of times.
I know, you said that in one of your videos, and I was drinking coffee, and that's why I said your videos need to come with a warning, because I literally spit, and I was like, because I couldn't hold it no more. I was just like, no, she didn't just say she missed it. Everything's perfect, and she missed the mistake. My husband was like, are you okay? I'm like, this lady's hilarious. I love watching her. I cannot. He's like, okay. So when I explained it to him, he was just like, oh, okay, whatever. But he supports it. He rolls with it.
Well, and what's funny is, like, I used to, like, when I started scrapbooking many, many, many years ago, it was always like I had to have an idea of where the page was going. So I had to have this plan. So it means before I even get into it, I had to know exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I can't see as many opportunities as what really exists. So anytime I have a pre-made plan of how I think it's going to go, it's usually very constrained as opposed to when I just let it develop. And so if I'm not making an oops, that means everything went as I expected. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I need the surprises, something. And part of it comes too with I get bored easily. Like I really, truly, the attention span of a squirrel. I'm just like, okay, I'm bored now. And I don't know if it was all those years around second grade kids or what, but it was just one of those things where I'm just like, if things don't surprise me, I get bored. Yeah. So, and that's part of why, like, stencils in the jelly plate are still so happy to me, is they're a fad that hasn't gone away. Yeah. For me, because they keep surprising me. Yeah. Whereas there were things like when I made candles. Yeah. And I didn't have the surprise in it.
Yeah, there's not really much you can do with the techniques. The techniques are still the same, but with jelly printing, which, by the way, you were the enabler for me.
Welcome to the addicted side with that one.
Oh, yeah. I even got my little niece. She's like, ooh, I want one. And her mother looked at me like, argh.
Somebody asked me, well, what do you do with all your prints? I'm like, sometimes I just have fun making them and I don't care. It's just fun. You just never know. It's like opening up the cereal box and getting the toy out and you never know what it's going to be every time. I mean, it's just fun. Like,
and using the different colors and learning about the mixtures within the mixtures, because especially if you don't know, like any color mixtures, you kind of get a surprise. So I love the fact that I kind of go in with a little bit of knowledge, but a little blind at the same time. So for me, that, makes me happy. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And then it's so funny because when I go, oops, I think about you. Or if I ever see that little squirrel from, oh, God, what is that movie? Ice Age. I think about you for some strange reason because you're like, oh, the squirrel and jumping up and down. And I'm like, oh, my God, that reminds me so much of Carolyn. I have no idea why. So
yeah, there's just something about having enough information to be dangerous, and like it's like, okay, then you just don't know what's going to happen. It's more fun. It's my adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
I don't drive fast cars, and I don't skydive. I like jelly plate. I jelly print and stencil. And
I know, my husband's like, so what do you do with it? I'm like, anything you want. He's like, but what do you do with it? And it's like, you can do this, you can do that. And then he's like, okay, whatever.
Well, he brings up a really good point that I spent a lot of years trapped in. Was what do you do with it? Like, everything that I bought down the aisle to Michael was for a purpose. We're having a party and we need a decoration. I need to make a gift. It's, a wreath for the door. But it always had a purpose.
Yeah.
And I was never really happy with all of that because it was always for this purpose.
Yeah.
And now I'm at the point where I make it for me. It's absolutely just what makes me happy, and that's enough. And my 20s, I was just fighting too hard, and there was too much, I don't know, expectation, whatever it is in your 20s, where I just wasn't that bright. And now in my 40s, I'm like, I'm doing it because I want to. It makes me, like, I don't care. Like, somebody said, what do you do with all your journals? I'm like, nothing. I just love them. Like, they don't have to be a purpose. I don't have to put them on a wall. It just makes me happy. And that was something, if I could go back to 20-year-old me and kind of go, wake up, figure this out.
Yeah.
That was one of those things that was such a big, I'm like, oh, I can just play for no purpose.
Yeah, I think in your 20s, as a lot of people say, they're still kind of finding their groove. And in your 30s, you kind of understand. And then in your 40s, I kind of feel that, I'm like, wow, I like this. This is a nice spot. This is an interesting spot. It has its own little challenges, but at the same time, it's like you feel kind of like a rock star. You're like, oh, okay, I got this. I got my groove. So yeah, I can relate to that. When I hit the 40s, I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's that. And I've heard like the 50s get better and the 60s even. So I'm like, yeah, we're on the upswing here. Like I'm actually really excited. Some people are like, oh, turning 50 is this horrifying thing, but I'm really looking forward to how things kind of open up. Get those kids out of the house. I love them. Don't get me wrong, I love them. But it's let them start their life, and then I get to move, fully into the next. So the 50s, I'm actually really excited about them. Wrinkles. I don't need the wrinkles, but everything else looks good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, the white hair. Oh, dye it. You can dye it in any color. you can say, oh, it's because I was bored or midlife crisis. Pick one.
Yup.
So, how did you get involved in Stencil Girl, and what is your process of making stencils? And I know there isn't, but I still want to hear, how do you get, how do you say, wow, this design would make a great stencil?
I don't actually plan anything. Some of it comes from what I wish I had.
Yeah.
So, what is it that I want that I can't find?
Oh,
that's where a lot of my stuff comes from, is just, I want, like, I hate my handwriting. I'm really trying to love my handwriting, but like, I was the teacher that had worse handwriting than the kids. I mean, it was really funny when I teach handwriting. It was like, well, I'll do this together, kids. It was, handwriting has never been my strength, and I never dedicated myself to it, which was funny when I was teaching it, because I'm like, okay, here we go. And so I was actually kind of an interesting teacher to like have talk to kids about handwriting, because I'm like, yeah, I get it. I'm like, yeah, just try a little part there. Okay, me too. And so they'd actually help keep me on track when I wouldn't. So it was anyway. I grew thanks to my second grade kids, but my handwriting is not my strength. Some people have beautiful handwriting that is just art, and mine looks like chicken scratch. So because I love words and I love titles and things, and I don't want to hunt through a magazine for the perfect word.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up making stencils with words.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted them to be able to do different things. I just wanted to have that flexibility. And if you've ever hand cut a stencil out of paper, you put all this work into it, and it lasts for a very short period of time because it just, stuff builds up on it, it warps up. So if I put the work into it, it never lasted. So hence Stencil Girl to the rescue.
Yeah.
Because the plastic, as long as you don't like run them through a paper shredder, they last forever.
Mm-hmm.
And as rough as I am on everything has for me has to be made by like Fisher Price. Because I am not going to be delicate and careful, and those suckers they absolutely have taken all my abuse.
Yeah.
And so it comes out of what I don't have. Like right now, I've got some new ones out that are more delicate patterns.
Oh, I saw them. I'm in love. I am so in love. I don't know which one to buy, and my husband's like, more stencils. I'm like, come on! It's Carolyn Dube!
Well, and I love those really complex looks when somebody looks at it and goes, how did you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And I love really fine details, but I don't have any patience. Like, I do not have any patience.
Yeah.
So it's like, I will not. I mean, I love those people that will hand color in things, and that's, bless them. A friend of mine is such an incredible doodler, and she can just sit there for hours with a pen, and she loves doing stitching, and I'm just like, I got a 3-minute time limit here, man. If we're not good to go in that, I'm over it. And so I had to, I got to cheat and use the stencil to do all the hard. I'm like, yeah. So now I can get the blending and those kinds of things. So it's absolutely my cheat. So stencils come a lot of times out of what I wish I had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's why my stencils go through like she went through her word phase, and she's here and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So. And it's as much when sort of lightning strikes. It's not like I have a process or a plan. It's just, hey, I wish I had okay. And I start working on it.
So do you actually just start out with a design, and then does it go through, like, you actually cutting out, or is it just a design phase and then you hand it off to Stencil Girl, or how is that process?
For me, I for whatever reason, I get a bug. So I'm like, what about this? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I will cut it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I won't. It really depends on what it is. Okay. Some of my more intricate, detailed ones, I do not cut.
I don't see that happening, no.
No. Or I'll cut, what I will cut sometimes is a really rough version of it, so I can see if it kind of goes the way I want. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, like with the ones that came out this time, I did not cut those. Like, there was no way I was looking at it. And I've gotten to the point now where I can see enough stuff, and they're really nice with me, and I'm like, okay, I think this. And then they send me a sample one. And then I go, yeah, that behaved, or no. Like, I had some where I'm just like, no, and it just dies right there. Okay. Because it just doesn't do, it had a look in my head. Yeah. And it just falls flat. So what actually makes it to the public, for what's in my head, for probably 75 ideas in my head, one makes it to the end. Now, some of them go farther in the process. Like, you get little glimmers, hey this, hey that. But for lots of ideas percolate around, but only the good ones. Yeah, I gotcha. Make it through, because, I have some real, as much, people say, oh, everything you do is great. Like, no, I got some real duds. Like, there's some really ugly stuff in my head. like, that did not work.
So, what stage do you think that you are going through now? Is it because the tone with the blending that you were doing, it was kind of like looking at the trend now, which is kind of like the blend-on-blend coloring and the watercoloring. So is that kind of like the phase that you're in now, or is it just came out of nowhere?
I don't know. I've noticed I've been doing more subtle. I'm like, what is the subtle thing?
I know, you don't do subtle. I seen the colors. I'm like, whoa, that is bright, Caroline. You should see me talking to the videos. Wow, Caroline, slow down.
It's like, there are a couple of things that I've done recently. I'm just like, whoa, it's subtle time, huh? So I don't know if it's just if that's going to get added into my wheelhouse to go with my brights, or I don't know. I just kind of I follow along. When the play sort of takes me, what interests me, I jump and go. So I don't know. Time will tell if it's a new direction or just a fad.
Your muse is something else. She's
Yeah.
she's very fickle, but when she has an idea, she strikes gold. It's like amazing. And so how do you keep that going? Like, how do you keep that inspiration, or do you just kind of ride the lows and keeping the...
Oh, they're lows. Don't get me wrong.
Like, how do you do that? Because I know that you've made a very interesting video how to thwart the inner critic or shut the inner critic up, whatever. You know what I mean.
So for me, the inner critic was one of my first hurdles. That was the big bad. That was one of the biggest ways that I was in my own way. Mm-hmm, so with everything that I create, really, it's whether or not I'm in my way or I'm out of my way. Okay. And so I had to shut that voice up. Mm-hmm. And it used to be sort of this big giant monster in the room, and now it's like, like this little itty bitty thing. It's still there, mm-hmm. but it's how loud it is. Yeah. And so for me, I just have to laugh at it all, because mm-hmm. I'm like, really, this is what you're getting worked up over? Because I had to laugh at myself, like, because like I watch some people that okay. So here's the thing. Here I bounce around.
That's okay.
to be an artist, that means that you can draw a realistic picture and it's hanging in a gallery, right? Yeah. I mean, that's mm-hmm. the definition of an artist. Yeah. And I do not draw realistic things. Mm-hmm. I mean, I draw stick figures. I mean, second grade kids used to laugh at my people when I'd have to do the diagrams on the board for the math problems, and they were all just like, "Oy," and I'm not. It's not that I couldn't do it. I choose not to practice it because it brings me no joy. Mm-hmm, Upon the day that it brings me joy to practice it, I will practice it. But yeah. I've tried, and I'm like, I'm bored. Like, it just doesn't work for me. So mm-hmm. when the time's right, I will. But anyway, where the hell was I going?
You were the muse. How when you are in that down period, and then how do you spark her inspiration?
Oh, So when I'm in a down period, mm-hmm. it's usually when my inner critic is just rip roaring on nuclear fuel, just having at me, and so I have to do things to absolutely shush it up. And mm-hmm. so for me, I have to take myself out of control. When in every other facet of my life other than art, control is a good thing. Mm-hmm. When I ran a classroom, when I ran a restaurant, when I owned a jewelry business, I needed I need to be type A. Yeah. There's a real benefit to being a type A person. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because you get your deadlines. You
Sorry about that. That's the joys of living in the city.
I live in the sticks, so we don't hear that very good. We get what is it? Air horn sirens, or air raid sirens. That's it. But with all this stuff, I had to find a way to just shut that voice up. Mm-hmm. And so, and to do that means I have to let go of that control. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if I do things that that is part of why I love the jelly plate, is I can't control it. I cannot control it fully. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There has to be that some part of me sort of letting go and turning it over. Mm-hmm. And then if those things don't work, then it just becomes a matter of humor, because I just imagine my muse sitting up there just laughing, just absolutely pulling the strings here, going, ha, ha, ha. Like, you're not going to get that to work. Because there's some days, and then I'll just embrace, I'm like, okay, it's an ugly day. We're just making ugly stuff all day long. Mm-hmm. Awesome! And I just go around making ugly stuff. Uh-huh. And the other thing, too, is when I'm in a really low phase, if I go and just do something for me without any I just let it be as ugly as it can be, usually by the end I'm really happy with it. Mm-hmm, because mm-hmm. by that point I've quieted that voice in the head, and I'm actually making and doing. Yeah. Now, not always. Sometimes it's just ugly. But I'm happier at the end. It might be ugly, but I'm happy, so I'm all good.
For me, I just kind of add more layers, and I go, oh. And then I'm like, when in doubt, add more layers.
That is the whole reason why I am not a professional watercolorist, because they can't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you plan out your white space and put the masking stuff over it, and the frisket, whatever it's called. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can't just add more layers. I'm like, whoa. Like, I've got to be able to cover stuff up.
Exactly. No, and then the other thing is, it's just that watercolor is so unpredictable, and it's that perfect balance, which I'm trying to, because I'm interested in it, but it's like I would like to see how far I can get into it in terms, and also be able to use it with my mixed media stuff. So I'm trying to learn that delicate balance, which is fun, but at the same time it's a little nerve-wracking. So it is like Okay. um, because you see these cards. So yeah. Uh-oh, did I lose you? I hope not.
Is it fun to bring in a new supply?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm still here. Can
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
No, let me just say to the audience, we're both having kind of internet connections, because the weather is not cooperating. I'm gonna be getting a storm in, like, maybe about when little man comes home, so it is what it is. The internet's just like, I don't feel like working today. You know, the internet guys are like, yeah, I'm on hiatus for a bit. Work with me. So, the joy of getting new supplies is always fascinating to me. And sometimes, especially when I'm looking at mixed media artists, I kind of just say, oh, you know what, I love that idea, that product, and I'll start Googling it and searching for it. Is that kind of the same for you when you get the new products, or is it just hands-on?
It is, it really depends on how it strikes me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like one of the ones, sometimes I'll play with things that I didn't expect to like,
Mm-hmm.
and I fall in love with. I'm like, oh, okay. Or that it looks to me almost like it's a one-trick pony,
Mm-hmm.
but when I start playing with it, I realize it can do 100 things.
Yeah.
So that,
Mm-hmm.
because it's more, and my way of looking at products too has gotten a little bit better than, say, when I was in my 20s, and I'm a fairly seasoned shopper, so I bought a couple of things over the years. Amazon actually, I think, has a direct route to my house, but so I'll look at things more in terms of its color.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what could I mix it with? What can I do with it, as opposed to, like, the packaging?
Mm-hmm.
They usually show you one way that you can use it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I kind of ignore packaging now.
Mm-hmm.
It's more, and I tend to buy a little bit of something, and if I really like it, then I'll go buy more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than buying all of it and going, what do I do with it?
Mm-hmm. I like the one product that you introduced me to was the high flow paints. Those I have to get some more of. I love them. The Liquitex High Flare, in case anybody has interest in buying them. They are just amazingly so fun, and just, I can't wait to start trying to learn how to spray paint with them. I'm just...
Yeah.
I can see the look. She's like, yeah.
Well, it's cool because it's like, one of the things I love about High Flow is if it's a paint, it's an ink, you can spray. I mean, it does a bunch of stuff. I like things that can do more than one thing. Be more than a one-trick pony for me.
Exactly, especially with the prices that we pay. It should be a little bit more flexible. I agree with that, definitely. The other question was, so, wow, there's so many questions. I don't even know what to ask first. So how did you start with YouTube? I mean, you have your online workshops, you have the, every once in a while you do some publications. How did you start with YouTube and your blog? And I love the name, A Colorful Journey. It's just amazing.
Well, that was a total luck. Like, if you go back and actually look at my first post, which, it was... the only way that you find your voice or find where you fit or all those kinds of things is by doing. Like, I was thinking it in my head. Yeah. And you just have to do. And putting myself out there was so scary. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And it's bit by bit, I'm getting more comfortable with it. Because really the journey for where I'm at now with the art has really been as much about accepting me as my art. Like, when I fully accept me, then I fully accept the art. It's kind of a reciprocal relationship. And so as I've started sharing things, I mean, my technical skill level was very different when I started than where I am now. Yeah. And my technical skill level will be very different 3 years, 5 years from now. Yeah. And I was very judgmental of that before I started blogging, because, like, I should be better. I should be better at this. Well, heavens, how am I going to get any better if I don't actually do this? Yeah. And so blogging got me a way to share it. I live in a small town, so I didn't have a lot of like local art friends.
Yeah.
So how do you share and connect up with other people? And it was like, okay, I'm going to put this on the blog.
Yeah.
I'm going to share these things. And through it, I've gotten to meet so many people, develop, be inspired by others. Because so much of my inspiration comes from other people.
Yeah.
Like I get sparked all the time by things. Like I did a blog post in the recent past about social media and how that sparks me. And when I don't know what to create, I'll just look through and the first thing that grabs me, okay, I'll add that. What's the next thing? That grabbed me. I'll go there. Because it's the act of just doing is where the things start to happen for me. If I think about it too much. So anyway, the blogging really got me to do it. Like, just got me on a schedule. It kept me regular with it. And the more I did it, the more I found what was most interesting to me. See, if somebody actually goes back and looks like, whoa, that's not her. Because it's just very, like, that was back when I bought brown paint. And...
Whoa, you actually bought brown paint? Whoa.
I had tons of brown paint. I've actually donated it all. Almost all of it is gone. I'm like, I'm never going to use this. Out of here.
It's so funny because you and I are like the polar opposites. You're the bright, and I'm kind of like the industrial chic type of painter. Like I'll do the browns, the turquoise, because urban, I like my that urban feel, and when I watch your videos, it kind of makes me go, interesting. So I've learned from you to how to pull that, that style out. And another person who I really admire that Stencil Girl has is Seth Green. Have you ever got a chance to work with him at any time?
Oh, Seth, he is fantastic. I have not actually worked with him, but I know him. He is absolutely one of the nicest people on the planet.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he's fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoy his style. So it's kind of a unique journey when you say how social media brings you together. And I really love the fact that you were able kind enough to put together the group. I forget the name of it, which I'm sorry. I need another cup of coffee.
Colorful Playground.
Yeah, Colorful Playground. Yeah, so I want to say hi to the ladies over there. They are so supportive and amazing. So hi, ladies. I'm sorry I haven't been on lately. I kind of took a little vacation, but as soon as I start, working on those journals, I will be posting. Oh my goodness, they are just so talented and so amazing and so. Wow, I love their work. I have to thank you for that because it's inspired me and just. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. So hi ladies, thank you so much.
And I love how there's so many different styles. That was one of the things that my sort of dream for it is that it would be accepting of all styles.
Yeah.
So that, like there's one person that does a lot of stamp carving, and there's some journal people, but there are also some people that work with, actual more realistic drawing. I mean, you just got this assortment of all sorts of things, and it's people in all different places in their artful journey, and it's just a nice group of people with it's just fully accepting.
Yeah,
so I have to say I really appreciate
and how they share the information. I love that. It's like you feel like you're learning and you're inspired at the same time, and you get to see such amazing work. So I think that is, if that's what you were looking for, spot on. I've learned a lot from these ladies. I've enjoyed being part of the group. It's just, it's just something where, I wish that more people would be able to do, because I kind of find living here in New York, when you say, oh, you're a crafter or you're just starting out with mixed media, people look at you like, oh. Like, they don't understand what a crafter is or scrapbooking. They just think, oh, well, you just sit there and cut out pictures. No, it's a little bit more than that, You got to have a little bit of a keen eye, a little bit of, and basically at the end of the day, you have to have fun with it, I think, with all of it, And so that's what I like, groups like that are just very supportive and like, oh, wow. How did you do that? Or, what color did you use? And it's just, it makes you really nice, a really nice feeling. It leaves you, like, happy.
Well, and I'm going to do a plug here.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
For all those people that go, oh, I can't share what I'm doing. There have been so many people in the playground who have been like, well, I've been watching, but I'm scared to post my stuff. I'm telling you, share your stuff in an art community, whether it be this one or any other. if you look around and people are generally nice, like there's some scary things on the internet. You're like,
yeah.
But in the art communities, people are so supportive. So get yourself out there, share some of it, take that step, because it will simply encourage you, fuel you on. And so I've seen so many people within the playground take that first step. They were scared, and they shared, and they're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this sooner? This is so awesome. And then they keep sharing. So please, if you're nervous, get off that fence, find a place to share, and let people see what you're creating, because you're going to inspire somebody, and you're going to be inspired by them.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. The first time that I posted something up, I said, I shared, I think it was one of my first or second mixed media pages, and I told David, I'm a little nervous, and David was like, don't worry about it, you do such great work. You're like, and the feedback from the women and the gentlemen, because I can't remember everything,
There are a couple guys in there, but not that many, but yeah, mostly women.
I was like, oh my god, you gotta see these comments. So I shared with him, I just handed him my phone, and I'm like, look. And he was like, I told you so. I'm like, all right. But wow, these are some, see? I'm like, okay, thank you. All right. So thank you, ladies, for that encouragement. You guys are amazing.
And you bring up a really good point with that, too, about the comments and what, a lot of times people don't think the comments mean anything. But I got to tell you, when it comes to art, because when you put something that you made up there, it's like putting yourself up there.
Yeah, exactly.
And when somebody says just, anything, beautiful, fabulous, whatever they say, that is just it warms the heart. So
even a thumbs up.
Those people that are...
Even a thumbs up or like or just, like that little plus, even that to me says a lot, to me, that somebody actually took the time out to look at your work and say, wow, that looks nice. So even if you don't put a comment, I still appreciate it.
Yeah, all those things. And I will say that to everybody at any level, getting that kind of a comment that just, it absolutely, like, on some of my videos in different places, I'll say that, comments feed the muse. And they totally do, because it's that encouragement. It's like, thank you for sharing this. It's that kind word that absolutely says, oh, let's go make some more. Let's do some more.
Yeah.
So to anybody out there that wants to support other creatives, man, those comments, it's just the fastest way to build somebody up.
Yeah. No, definitely. So, you never really explained to us, how did you get involved with Stencil Girl? Did you guys mutually knew one another, or was it something was it like kind of a business transaction? How did this awesome relationship come about? Or
Boy, you're going to test my memory on this one. Really, it was a mutual friend. It was a mutual friend who connected us up. So, there was Maria McGuire connected me up with Mary Beth.
Oh, I love the trash can, by the way. Yeah, and I did see some of that video. I was interrupted by a little person. I think I gotta go back, but yeah. The video of you and Mary McGuire. So hi, Mary, in case of anything, and everybody in Stencil Girl, hello. So yeah, wow, that's amazing. And it just, how long have you been with them, by the way?
Oh, see, you ask me these hard questions.
Sorry.
I think maybe 2 years, but don't hold me. If anybody actually knows the facts better than that, go with them. I think
so anybody that knows the facts, let me know. Email me. I'll leave.
I think it's 2 years.
No, but it's I don't know. It's like a glove, like, between all of the creators and how everyone is so different, but yet it's fueled by this passion. Do you get that sense that you feel like you're fueled by they're just as passionate about their art? Do you feed off of that as well? I mean, because that's what it looks like.
Being around creative people fuels me on a level. So staying in touch with, it's very, very close-knit group with a lot of the people at Stencil Girl, and it's again, it comes down to encouraging people. So when I was in the jewelry business, it wasn't artsy jewelry, it was like costume jewelry. It was like mass-produced jewelry, nothing fancy, but it was a very cutthroat. It was, let me knock you down so I can go higher. And I didn't like that environment.
Yeah.
That didn't bring out greatness, and it didn't encourage me. It just made me feel worn down by the world.
Yeah.
And so what I found in teaching and in the classroom is that was very much of a community.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We helped each other, we encouraged each other, the kids, the parents, the other teachers, build things up. And with the art community, I find that too,
mm-hmm.
that it's very much about building up. So it all does feed itself. We all, sure, do we all struggle at times? Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Do we all have our off days? Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're there to support each other.
Yeah.
So and sometimes the support comes just from a little comment or a share on Facebook. Truly, when you're having one of those ugly days, mm-hmm. those things really do help lift you up and go, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a closeness there, and there's a sharing of ideas. Like, that's mm-hmm. really important to me.
Yeah.
Is sharing of ideas.
Yeah.
It's as I bounce an idea here, what do you think of that? Oh, do that. So like Maria and I will do that a lot. Mm-hmm. We bounce mm-hmm. ideas around a lot. And a lot of the ideas just fall dead because, that's, you're shifting or filtering out the good ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the ideas that are fantastic. And so I'm really appreciative to have people around me that I can do that with.
Yeah.
So that the good ones really get pulled out.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally understand that. That's something that makes the process of creating or anything, easier. So I totally correlate to that. My next question was going to be, so what is next? Are you designing something, another publication? What's on the agenda? Any hint?
In August, I have 4 videos or DVDs coming out with Northlight, Cloth, Paper, Scissors. I filmed those in April, mm-hmm. and those will be coming out in early August.
Woohoo!
So those are coming out. I'm doing some teaching in August, and I don't know what direction things are going. I haven't really thought it out that hard.
Any plans to New York? Hint.
Actually, I have, I do have family up in the New York area, and I keep meaning to do that, and it hasn't, things haven't filtered together. I really need to, that's one of my things I need to do, is put together my 2016, where I'm going for that, because it's actually getting kind of late, apparently, for that, to put that stuff together. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So, it's some of those things when really what I want to do is I just want to play.
I totally understand, but you gotta feed our inner muse, hint, like, you gotta help us feed our inner muse. we need some love over this way.
But it's definitely on my list because I think New York is a fantastic city.
Yeah.
Like every time I've come, I love the city.
Yeah.
So.
Well, please keep me in touch. I would definitely love to know, and I will put all the wonderful links and in the description and on my blog. You can find Carolyn Dube at acolorfuljourney.com. I'll leave all her wonderful links on my blog, which is eileenthelittlecrafter.com. And thank you so much, Carolyn. It was such a pleasure and honor. And I hope that you and I can stay in touch. This was just so much fun. We definitely have to have you again on the show. Alrighty, guys. So that will be it for now. Thank you so much, and bye for now.